Her name was Kaylin Vire. No one knew her as anything more than a career diplomat from the small Terran moon colony of Daedalus Prime. She wasn't born into power. She wasn't trained in war. She wasn't even the first choice for the peace talks. She was the compromise. The placeholder. A face to placate all parties. Her voice was calm. Her record spotless. Her mission: attend the Centauri Accords and negotiate peace between the Galactic Concord and the Free Belt Confederation after decades of Cold War and trade sabotage. But Kaylin saw something they didn't. The talks were a lie. The Free Belt leaders had been assassinated weeks before the Accords. Replaced by Concord-grown mimics. The entire summit was a theater act. The Concord planned to sign an agreement for peace, broadcast it across all networks, then initiate a stabilization campaign, code for genocide and annexation. Kaylin didn't discover this through espionage. She saw it in a reflection. Literally. Daedalian children are born with mirrored eyes. A genetic mutation no one fully understood. Her entire life, Kaylin wore tinted contacts to hide them. But the mirrors weren't just cosmetic. They saw through illusions. Through light manipulation fields. Through falsehoods. On the eve of the signing, Kaylin walked into the Great Hall of Unity and saw a reflection she didn't recognize. The man who claimed to be Chancellor Velen was dead. His mimic wore the same face, but its aura flickered wrong. She didn't scream. She smiled. And she began rewriting the speech. The next day, she stood beneath the banners of peace. Billions watched from across the galaxy. They expected diplomatic platitudes. Instead, Kaylin removed her contacts. Gasps rippled across the hall. Those mirror eyes reflected every face in the chamber, and behind them, the truths they carried. You came for peace. But peace does not wear a stolen face. The Concord commanders moved to shut her down. Kaylin activated a pulse beacon embedded in her spine. It was a deadman switch, one she had coded in secret with rogue AI remnants from the belt. Across 100 systems, every hidden archive she had compiled went public. Footage of mimic labs. Death lists. Confessions of vanished leaders. Secret blueprints of Concord extermination fleets. Then she declared war. Not as a soldier. Not as a queen. But as a citizen. You declared war on truth. I answer as its weapon. The Accords collapsed. Concord forces tried to arrest her. Belt partisans, long scattered, rose in coordinated rebellion. Outer Ring AI colonies cut data relays and launched virus fire through Concord systems. Kaylin didn't flee. She walked through chaos, untouchable. Her mirrored eyes flashing like twin suns. They called her mad. They called her dangerous. They called her traitor. And then planets began to secede. A 1,000-year empire broke not because of a battle, but because a diplomat refused to lie. And when they begged for negotiations again, she gave them a single sentence. You had peace. Then you killed it. Now meet its ghost. What began as a revelation became a movement. Kaylin disappeared from the public eye after the Accords, but her words lingered. Sectors where her broadcast was strongest began to experience system-wide rebellion. Not through warfare, but through refusal. Entire planets turned off. Refused to send data, resources, soldiers. Governments dissolved. Refused to speak Concord standard. The revolution had no single leader. But it had a face. 2 mirrored eyes. A voice like glass breaking. And a phrase that became the motto of resistance. No more false reflections. The Concord retaliated. Hard. They launched a campaign called Operation Eclipse. It wasn't a war. It was an erasure. Planets that aligned with Kaylin's words disappeared from star maps. Populations replaced with synthetics. History rewritten. AI that spoke her name self-destructed. Her mirror mutation was labeled a virus. But the mirror trait spread. In quiet sectors, children were born with mirrored eyes. No genetic link. No pattern. Just eyes like Kaylin's. The Concord tried to suppress it. But for every system silenced, another spoke. The mirror war had no battle lines. It was fought in perception, belief, truth. And it was winning. Years later, on the ruins of what was once the Concord capital, a message appeared on every frequency. It was her voice. Older. Steadier. I was just a diplomat. Until I realized truth was being negotiated. I don't negotiate truth. I reveal it. Kaylin Vire. The woman who shattered an empire with nothing but her reflection. And in the new galaxy that rose from the ashes, peace bore a new symbol. Even with the Concord shattered, remnants endured. Old fleets, rogue AI, sleeper cells of the Mimic network, all still operational in the shadows of dead systems. They feared Kaylin more than ever. Not because of what she had done, but because of what she meant. A truth unkillable. A mirror that never stopped reflecting. The last war wasn't declared. It began with a disappearance. Entire systems stopped responding. Starships jumped into sectors and vanished. Relay beacons blinked once, then silenced forever. Some believed Kaylin had returned in wrath. Others whispered that the Echo protocols had finally activated. But it wasn't her. It was her legacy. From deep in the void, from places uncharted and unreachable, came voices. Children with mirrored eyes. Grown now. Leading their own movements. Some sang. Some wrote. Some simply stood in silent defiance. The Concord's last general, Marshal Vex Orin, authorized Project Shatterpoint, a massive energy pulse weapon designed to fracture quantum consciousness. The goal: end the mirror trait. End all thought linked to Kaylin. He underestimated her. Kaylin had not been idle. She had traveled beyond known space, into the Library of Breath, a dimensional fold where extinct cultures encoded their last thoughts. She emerged with knowledge forbidden even to the gods of old. And when Vex's weapon fired, Kaylin was waiting. She stood in orbit over Eidos Prime, alone, no fleet behind her. The pulse hit. And shattered. Not the mirrors. Not the minds. But Vex himself. The weapon inverted. His ship became a prism. His crew lost in dream space. And Kaylin, in a whisper that echoed across dimensions, said, "Truth bends for no tyrant." Kaylin Vire never claimed power. She refused statues. Declined leadership. Denied divinity. She walked away. Some say she lives now as a wanderer among the broken rings. Others believe she became more, a being of harmonic resonance, traveling on light. But her name lives. Children born with mirrored eyes are now called Kaylins. Every galactic accord is ratified beneath her words. And when tyrants rise, when truth is threatened, when lies paint themselves as justice, a single phrase is etched in resistance banners. Remember the diplomat. She saw through everything. And gave us back the stars. Kaylin Vire. The woman who declared war not on armies, but on the lie itself. And won.